What's up, y'all? I'm out here at the range. As you can see behind me, having some fun out here. The doggone wind has picked up so strong, it's like a tornado's blowing through here. It's blowing my cameras and everything else over, so hopefully I can make it through this one in one piece. But as y'all can see by the title, I'm headed back to some 10mm for this one. It's been quite a while since I tested any 10mm. I think the last one I did was the 10 versus the 40 of that Nosler ammo. I'll leave a link up above if y'all interested in checking that out. But on that test, the 10mm didn't look like nothing special. It was just, arguably the 40 did better on that test. But that's because I've said it 100 times, and a lot of people don't seem to think this, but when it comes to 10mm, ammo makes a huge difference. If you got some old weak, watered down 10mm, you just got a 40 Smith & Wesson is all you got, basically. But when you get the right load and the right manufacturer or hand load that stuff, you get some really potent stuff when you get the right 10mm recipe going. So what we're using out here today should show you just how good a 10mm can be. I got the jelly contraption set up, got the chrono, got 2 blocks, and now freshly melted blocks. This one we running the test in up front is completely clear, no test. Now this back one is pretty full with some tests I've already done. I'll leave some links so y'all can check those out if you hadn't already, but we should have plenty of room to do some tests up here on this front one. Now what we're working with today are both Underwood rounds. So we got 10mm Underwood. One of them is a 135 grain projectile rated for 1600 feet per second. If at that velocity, you're looking at about 767 foot-pounds. Now I don't think we're going to reach that, but we'll see what happens. It's just a jacketed hollow point, as you can see there. Not sure what kind of projectile that is exactly. Then the second one we're doing is another Underwood round. This one's 165 grain, a little bit heavier, and moving at 1400 feet per second according to the box. So a little bit heavier, a little bit slower, a little less foot-pounds, calling for 718 at that velocity there. Now this one's actually a bonded jacketed hollow point. It looks a lot like the Gold Dot. It may be a Gold Dot. I'm not sure if they load Gold Dots or not, but it looks exactly like one to me. Now the tool we're using today is the good old Glock 20 Gen 4 with a 4.5-inch barrel, so pretty good size barrel on it, so we ought to be squeezing some performance out of these rounds for sure. But like I say, hopefully these rounds right here show people what a 10mm is actually capable of doing with the right ammo. So let me get everything set up and we'll get started. All right, y'all, let's get some speeds on these bad boys. We're gonna start out with these 135 grainers first, the ones that said 1600 on the box. So I'm very curious to see what these do. I've had both of these rounds for a very long time, probably 4 or 5 years, I'll be honest with you, but I've never chronoed them, so it's gonna be a surprise to me too. So I'm gonna do a 3-round average on both of these and see what we got going here. If I can get this wind to not blow me over, that is, but let's see what we can get, y'all. $15.11, $15.02, and $14.56. So now we're talking 10mm. Let's check that average. All right, so the 3-round average on the 135 grainers is 1489 feet per second. So they moving on out for sure. So let me load up them 165s and let's see what they can do. All right, let's see what these 165s can do. These are claiming a 1400 on the box, so it should be pretty close to that because those last ones were pretty close to what they were asking for. So let's see what we can get out of these, y'all. $13.04, $13.10, and $12.91, so not too bad. Let's check the average on that. All right, so the 3-round average on those 165 grain bonded hollow points were 1301 feet per second. And if you remember on those 135s, it was 1489. So you're talking about 188 feet per second difference between the two of them. 188 feet per second slower on those 165s. So this should be an interesting jelly test. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen here. So let me get everything reset and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's real 10 jelly time. We're gonna start out with these 135 grainers and see what they do. I'm really not sure what to expect out of them, to be honest. We're moving at these speeds. These are the non-bonded, so I'm kind of expecting a little bit of fragmentation out of them. So let's see what they do, y'all. Here we go. All right. It definitely got some fragmentation. I can see it from here, and it knocked them blocks sideways. Let me go down there and check it out. All right, y'all, that thing definitely came apart down there in the jelly. I figured it would, but it dumped some massive energy. I mean, it left stretch marks on the outside of the jelly block all the way around where the wound channel entrance was. So that was some devastating power dumping, that for sure. So personally, though, I don't think that, we'll talk about it here in a second, but I don't know if that round's capable of handling those speeds. But let's see what this 165 does, this bonded one. It may be a little better, actually. It might be the sweet spot. Let's see what we get. All right, another good hit right up under the other one. Let's go check it out and see what we got down there. All right, y'all, let's take a look at this devastation we got down here. The one on the top, 135 grainer, one on the bottom, the 165 grainer. So the 135 grainer, as y'all can see, came in with some massive action going on, just fragmentation, just crazy energy dump right there. Fragmented the round out. It looks like about 4 little shards came off of it right there. The rest of it carried out here, a little more fragmentation there, and the round, what's left of the round ended up laying right here. Now the 165 stayed completely intact, came in, dumped massive energy again, big old wound channel. I mean, that size of that wound, you can just tell by looking at it. It carries all the way through, and that projectile, I can just tell you now, before I even pull it, that thing is really expanded perfectly. I mean, great expansion on that thing, and stayed completely intact. So these are some really nasty rounds right here. Neither one of them got a lot of penetration, but I think this is one of them cases where you can forgive a little bit of lack of penetration because of so much energy that was dumped in the target right here. So the actual penetration on it is 10¼ inches. Actually, they're both exactly the same. This one rebounded a little bit to fragmented, but both of them are exactly at 10¼ inches of penetration. Give you a quick overhead view. I mean, look at that thing right there. Look at those sections that came out, just massive explosion. And all this on the outside, that's actual stretch marks all the way around where that thing entered. You can see the massive entry holes there. Just absolute devastation, total devastation from both of those rounds. Nasty stuff. All right, y'all, let's take a look at this projectile stuff down here. This right here is the 165 grainer, or what's left of it. I mean, it's basically just, I mean, it's a mangled mess. You can barely even recognize it as a round anymore. I mean, just total disintegration. That's what's left of it. Well, that was what was intact. There's tons of material left behind in the gel for sure. Now, on the other hand, this is the 165. This thing is beautiful. Every single bit retained, every single bit of material. I mean, that's huge. That is huge. I'll measure it here in a second, but I can just tell you, that is a massively expanded projectile right there. That thing's crazy. Like I say, I feel like these are gold dots, but if y'all know for sure, let me know down in the comments. Let's see if we can get some weights on these things. This 135, let's see what's left of it. Looks like 87.8. 87.8 grains is what was left on the 135. As far as the 165, 165.2. 165.2 on that one. So it kept every bit of its material, every single bit of it. All right, as far as the size on these things, this one right here is going to be hard to measure, but we'll go from this across this way, 0.53 on that way, and then the long way, I mean, this really ain't going to be an accurate measurement, but it's going to be big this way for sure. You're talking about 0.786 on the long way. Now this 165 is a whole different story. 1.013, 0.99, and 0.993. So you're talking about a 1-inch projectile. That's 1 inches of absolute devastation, y'all. Just devastating. So this was definitely a tale of 2 different rounds here for sure. 2 completely different performances out of these. Penetration was equal, but this one here, as y'all saw, fragmented all to pieces. I think this round, this projectile just couldn't handle that speed. I mean, I think that's a little too much speed for this particular projectile. That being said, now it would absolutely devastate whatever needed to be taken care of. The 165 on the other hand, I mean, it took it all. Like it handled every bit of that speed and opened up to a 1-inch diameter piece of absolute devastation, y'all. These right here are good examples of what real 10mm rounds are capable of. All right, y'all, there's another 10mm test in the books. This one really showed you what a 10mm was capable of versus the last one when I did the 10 versus 40. That was obviously just really weak, watered down 10mm ammo. So the 10mm guys that I lost, unsubscribed on that last video, y'all hit that subscribe button now, join back up. Y'all see I'm redeeming the 10mm here. But like I said, absolute devastation out of both of these rounds. Now, the penetration, it's not within that standard that you normally look for, but I'll be honest, with the power of these things, they would just brute force their way to whatever needed to be gotten to. I don't think the penetration deficit here is hurting these things in any way whatsoever. They've got so much power that they're going to get through and get to what they need to get to. Now, as far as my choice out of these rounds, that's a tough call. I believe I'd take that 165 just because it held all of its mass together. And like I say, that's a 1-inch projectile running through something, y'all. 1 inches of absolute devastation. The 135 would absolutely be no slouch either, and it wasn't. It dumped massive energy. Y'all can see it left stretch marks on the outside of the jelly block. It got down to business. I guess ultimately, if somebody was to ask me which one I wanted, it would be whichever one they could put in my mag the fastest. But y'all can see right here just how important the right ammo is to make a 10mm more than just a overhyped 40. Those last ones, like I say, those weak nozzle rounds I tested a while back were nothing but just, there were 40s. Let's be honest. These right here are a totally different ball game. But y'all let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comments. All my 10mm folks out there, what do you think about these rounds? Do y'all actually carry either one of these? Do you carry something different? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. If y'all did enjoy the video, if you would take a second, hit that thumbs up down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon so you can get notified when I upload these new videos. Check my Amazon storefront affiliate link down in the description. If you shop through Amazon anyway, hit that link first. It goes right through Amazon like normal from there, and anything you buy anywhere on Amazon after hitting that link, I get a kickback towards the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Appreciate all my range gang members who reached down and hit that join button. That helps out the channel, so I thank y'all for that. Thank you again to every single one of y'all out there who is watching my channel, my videos, hitting that thumbs up, hitting that subscribe button, hitting the bell notification icon, and leave me them comments down below. I really enjoy reading what y'all have to say about these tests. I got some crazy weather going out here. The sun's fighting the clouds and the wind's on the sideline putting in some cheap shots here and there, so I don't know what's going on here, but I'm gonna try to sneak a couple more tests in before I head out of here, so y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for those, and in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see y'all soon.